Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom. So last night I was at a remarkable event. Rabbi Ondi had been asked to speak in the St. George's Cathedral because of the visiting teacher, Tibetan Monk Rinpoche, who is a master of meditation and awareness consciousness that some of you may have come across, but he's currently in South Africa at the moment. And so interfaith leaders were invited to meet with him, and he spoke and taught, and then they brought responses. And of course, rabbinically, one sees everything through the lens of Torah. So when Rinpoche told a story about his early childhood, apparently when he was 8 or 9 years old, he was prone to panic attacks. And these panic attacks got worse and worse to the point where he was worried that he was having heart attacks. So he asked his parents if he could go and see a doctor. He saw the first doctor, and the doctor said, "Your heart is fine." He said, "Oh, this is not a very good doctor. We need to see another doctor." And they went to another doctor who also declared his heart to be fine. And after a while, in despair, realizing that his heart was not the problem, he turned to his father to teach him meditation, to help him to cope with the panic attacks, which he did, and struggled with these teachings. One of the things that his father tried to teach him right up front was not to fear the panic attacks and not to try and stop the panic attacks. And he said, "Oh, I think you're not the right person for me." But he did persevere. And what his father was trying to teach him, very much in Tibetan Buddhist style, is that the analysis, the metaphor that he uses is like the sky. When you look up at the sky is the sky. But when a storm comes, the storm comes and passes. You cannot stop the storm. You can observe the storm and see what the storm does and how you respond to the storm, but you can't stop the storm. So he taught Rinpoche to watch the attacks, to watch and observe and see what happens to him during the time that these happen. And over time, with this teaching, eventually his panic attacks diminished, although he apparently still gets nervous. So as I was listening to these teachings, I was thinking about the beginning of our Torah portion. Leah, what's our Torah portion called this week? Shoftim. So at the beginning of our Torah portion this week, you have the instruction, Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'chol she'arecha. Very Jewish mitzvah instruction. You should have judges and officers at all of your gates. We know that Judaism is obsessed with justice, with the passage of justice, with fighting and pursuing justice. And this is very much an action, something that we need to do. This is not a Buddhist stepping back and observing. So what was the connection? Well, there is a beautiful twist in the Chassidic interpretation of the Mei HaShiloach, the Rebbe of Ishbitz, who says as follows, Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha b'chol she'arecha, judges and officers you shall place at all of your gates. He says, what are our gates? Our gates are our eyes. Our gates are our mouth. Our gates are our ears. And what are the judges and officers that you need to place at your gates? Well, you need to pay attention to the way that you are looking at the world. How are you looking out from your eyes? How are you judging situations? How are you judging people? You need to look at the gate of your mouth and say, what words are coming out of my mouth? Have I thought carefully before I've spoken about the consequences and intentions of these words that I speak? And we need to place guards and judges at our ears to be careful that when we listen, we are listening for truth and we are listening for balance, and we are listening carefully that we don't mishear or misconstrue what it is that we are hearing. So I thought, thank you, Rinpoche, for giving us the Buddhist twist on a Chassidic twist on this week's Torah portion, that is that before we leap into action, whether that is action or that is just making our mind up that we know all the facts and therefore we can proceed, take a moment to step back and observe. Place the guards at our gates and be sure that we have all of the information that we need before we speak or act. And when we do, let's do that with tzedek and tzedek, with just justice, so that we know that we're doing the right thing. Many teachings, much wisdom that comes to us through the years from Jewish traditions, from Buddhist traditions, and from our hearts. Good Shabbos, everybody. Shabbat Shalom.